Hi everyone and welcome to Trending Vegas. I'm your host Melissa Dudon, and today we're going to be talking about the hot topics hitting social media platforms. I have my social media experts here to help, including Jace Radke and Natasha Shahani. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
And of course you hear him every morning on your radio, 98.5. Spence, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, representing all of the bald people in Las Vegas.
And the radio people, don't forget
bald radio
that.
people specifically. If it's
That's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, you know. So we've had a lot of TV people on in this position, but we've never had a radio personality on. If you could tell me a little bit about how you incorporate social media into the radio realm.
Number one, to be a smart aleck in under 140 characters, and then a lot of it's just to promote the show, what's coming up. It's a tool to promote what's going on 98.5 KLUC and specifically Chet Buchanan in the Morning Zoo.
Have you had to work it into your daily programming?
Quite honestly, it's something that every day we are scheduling out what's coming up on the show on Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, everything. Every single day I sit after the show and schedule things out for the rest of the week.
It's so interesting how this is kind of social media is taking over everyone's career. Now you have to actually schedule blocks of time to monitor these sites.
And thanks to the Challenger schools, I can actually spell everything now. So it's really good when you can spell.
Thank goodness for that. I appreciate that. All right. Well, we're glad to have you here, and let's get right into our first topic, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders stadium timeline. If the stadium is going to be built by 2020, a lot of things have to happen, and not everyone is confident it's going to be built in time. Reporter for the Las Vegas Sun, Adam Candy, tweeted, Raiders president Mark Bedane says it is a distinct possibility that if lease is not done in May, team might not come to Las Vegas until 2021. Keith Wilcox responded by saying, at Las Vegas Sun, worth the delay to get the lease right. Need to ensure long-term maintenance and renovations will have funding. Joe Arrigo said, multiple sources have told me that a lease between the Raiders and Stadium Authority will be in place very, very soon. And Darren Arata posted this picture of the desert with a picture of the would-be Raider Stadium as a mirage in the distance. So guys, this is really interesting. So right there, they're talking about the lease agreement, which is just one step in the stadium timeline. And I actually got this from the Review Journal. I thought it was really interesting. And they named some of the construction times other stadiums have seen. The Minneapolis Vikings Stadium, the US Bank Stadium, that was done in 32 months. MetLife Stadium for the Jets and Giants, 32 months. The Indianapolis Colts, 35 months. Texas Stadium, well, that's a huge one, so that maybe that's 45 months. But are we thinking that this is going to be done in time? Are we worried? What are you all seeing on social media?
The one thing I don't understand is, okay, we need to have the lease done by the end of May. Why? It's going to take 3 years to build a stadium. Figure the paperwork out in the middle. They'll get it done unless they find Caliche. And then
Caliche, kill everything.
Then a whole other site. Jace, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, these things take a long time. They're complicated processes. You know, they picked a site that's out there. There's infrastructure needs that have to happen out there. Parking is an issue that they've discussed. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot that has to happen. I just keep thinking of the Oakland fans. You know, this is such a weird situation that they're going to be there playing for 2 to 3 years before. You know, normally when these teams move, they leave in the middle of the night. You know, you think back to the Baltimore Colts. They drive the bands in and leave, so there's like a clean break. It's weird. It's just a weird situation, you know.
Well, and Mark Davis was saying actually that if the stadium isn't built by 2020 in time, he would even ask the Raiders fans and ask to prolong till 2021, which, like you said, that's awkward. Natasha, what are you seeing?
I think there's a lot of tension there, and to already be playing for 2 years, I don't think they have a choice but to finish the stadium. But I mean, the Vikings took 33 months, and the Falcons are on their 36th month, and their stadium's still not built. So. Wow. I don't know. I mean, I think they don't have a choice, but it's going to depend on the builders and how fast they can turn it around. But if I was in Oakland, I would not extend their contract. I don't know if I even would show up to the games at this point.
You know, on the lease standpoint, I believe what I've read, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, is that it has to be approved by certain people, and that group only meets a few times a year. So if they miss this May deadline, it's pushed to October, which in essence will delay the opening of the stadium until 2021.
They need to inventicize the entire process. Like every politician or member of the MGM Resorts International must get a Mark Davis haircut if it is not done by a certain date. And I think that would
do it.
The pressure.
Sisolak would not, he's not going for that. He's going to get
No.
it done.
No.
You know, what are we thinking about what the Raiders want out of this stadium lease? Because I'm a big advocate for UNLV getting as much as they can out of this. You know, the taxpayers in Nevada, we're really coming forward for this. The governor has been pushing for it. And I really am a strong believer that, you know, we cannot be left out. UNLV needs their huge piece of the pie in this. And some people are saying, well, that the Raiders might be trying to just kind of wiggle them out a little
Well,
bit.
they're the Raiders and they're the NFL, so I mean they're going to get what they want at the end of the day. That's who's coming here. That's why the state, you know, put the hotel room tax funds towards this. So I feel like the Raiders are going to get whatever they want at the end of the day. UNLV, I'm sure there'll be a place for them, but it might not be a perfect match. But
Do we know if the FAA studies have even been done on the site?
I haven't heard.
well, I know there's environmental studies that need to be done, even not for the site specifically, but for, you know, they're talking about widening the roads, Russell Road, I-15. When you're dealing with a federal highway like I-15, there's environmental studies that have to take place, and they can take years. So, you know, I think once they get the stadium done, getting to and from the stadium may be not a lot of fun.
All right, guys, sticking with the sports theme, we have our NHL team, but the first huge event surrounding the Vegas Golden Knights is coming in the next few weeks, the NHL expansion draft. At MFox10 tweeted, I like the playoffs and all, but I can't wait for the Vegas expansion draft, entry draft, and free agent frenzy all in a 10-day span. Hashtag NHL. At Vegas NHL posted a guide to the draft for people like me, tweeting a great resource for understanding the NHL expansion draft process. But not everyone is on board. Ash Ford posted, I do not want an NHL team in Las Vegas. I do not want an expansion draft. I love my team as is and do not want to share. Well, to her, too bad, I guess, because
Too
it's
late.
too late. But, you know, I don't really know enough about hockey, and it's kind of funny I feel I have season tickets. I don't know anything about hockey. I feel like I need to do some studying to understand what's going on. Are you all NHL fans?
There are a total of 7 people in Las Vegas that actually know all the rules of hockey. All I know with this expansion draft is this. Unlike the presidential election, Russian involvement is encouraged.
We want a
They've
lot of
signed one
Russians.
Russian,
Right,
and I think
yeah.
we need more Russians.
We do.
And if we can figure out how to pronounce the names, I think it's a winner. That's my personal opinion.
That's a really good point. I love that. Natasha?
I mean, I know nothing about hockey. I think the Golden Knights are doing an amazing job on their social channels. They've got blog posts. Like, I've learned a lot just reading their blog posts. They've got facts about the Russian guy, 6 things you didn't know, what player he's gonna like emulate based on his playing style, you know, and they're really like using this tool to educate people. They had a blog post that was titled like 5 memorable players you didn't know came from an expansion draft. And I was like, this is, you know, for the non-hockey fan who wants to get into hockey to support the Golden Knights, this is like really good information.
You're going to have to send me that
Yeah,
link
I will.
so that I can read up on it. Chase?
I just think it's really interesting to know that they're having the expansion draft here. They don't have to do that. They could have it in Toronto. They could have it in New York. But I think the NHL, you know, they were the kind of the first ones in with the Major League Sports, and I think they recognize that Las Vegas is a special place, a different place where events, you know, nobody does events like Las Vegas. So I think it's going to be really interesting to watch the Golden Knights as the first one out of the box to see what they do with events in our city, and it'll really be something that, you know, the Raiders and then hopefully other major league teams will follow in years to come.
You know, on that aspect of it, do you remember when the NBA All-Star game was here? Because that was a rough weekend for Las Vegas. I mean, as a whole, a lot of crime, a lot of police calls. You know, do we think that the NHL is going to bring the same sort of problems? But we've had the awards here before in the past, correct?
Yeah, the awards they have here every year.
But not the expansion
at the end of the expansion draft's the first thing. So it's a different event. You know, there's always with Las Vegas, and you know we have issues with short-term rentals now at the city. We're trying to do regulations on that. It's kind of the same issue of people come to Las Vegas to party, and sometimes people get out of hand. But there's a difference between a weekend All-Star game and having a team here for 41 home games.
true.
Yeah.
And honestly, hockey people know how to fight. Once you pull the jersey over their head, fight's over, everybody goes home safely.
I mean, I'm loving all these points. You're really just opening my eyes to a whole other aspect of these topics. I really appreciate
As I mentioned,
that.
I know hockey.
And you know what? You mentioned Airbnb.
Yeah.
You know, with the Raiders coming, with the NHL coming, I would love to be able to afford to capitalize on some Airbnb property near the Strip, downtown Las Vegas. What do you think this is doing for our economy, Natasha?
I think it's a great way to build the economy. You know, I'm in the market for a house, and I'm kind of feeling the negative side effects for that because, you know, with all of these developments, it's great for the economy, but house prices are rising. And if you're going to buy something, buy it quickly, because once we have all of these sports teams and new stadiums, we're just increasing property value, which is great, unless you're in the market to buy right now.
That's true. And I'm a firm believer that if the Raiders come, the NHL's here, NBA is going to follow.
Yeah,
You
and
would think, right?
NBA is, I think, a no-brainer. They, you know, the way their league is situated, they've got some teams in the Western Conference that should be in the East, like Memphis, for example. And they've got, you know, they have an even number of teams, so they would need 2. And so Seattle is a gimme, and I think Las Vegas, depending on how these teams do, is going to be right there as well.
Las Vegas can have the Clippers.
Why
No,
you guys,
we
you guys
don't
have
want
thought
the
about
Clippers.
this too much.
And if the Airbnb thing holds out, Chris Paul can stay in my casita.
Oh, I'm sure he'd love that. He hosts a ping pong tournament here every year.
Then you might also have Dwayne Wade, Carmelo in there, and LeBron as well, with a banana boat. Speaking of social media, that was big on social media.
All right, guys, our final topic is a little out of the ordinary, but it was just too big to ignore, and it does have a Nevada tie. Here's what happened. It started with this tweet from Carter Wilkerson, who wrote, "Yo, Wendy's, how many retweets for a year of free chicken nuggets?" Wendy's replied, 18 million, to which Carter replied, "Consider it done." Well, it may have seemed like a long shot, but Carter got tons of support. At Guinness World Record tweeted, "Congratulations to @CarterJWM, who just broke the Ellen Show record for most retweeted tweet on Twitter. #Nugs for Carter." And it wasn't just about the Nuggets. Wendy's also donated $100,000 to the Dave Thomas Foundation, which helps foster kids find adoptive families. So my question is, what are we going to do to get this kind of attention? Maybe to help a charity, do something like that? Because who would think that a Nevada teen, he's from Reno, would garner this much traction with something like this? You talked to him.
Yeah, we talked to him on the show the other day, and first of all, what a great kid. 16 years old, smart. He has an advantage in that in Reno, the 4 basic food groups are grains, dairy, fruits and vegetables, and nuggets.
Oh.
So many people don't know that.
Okay.
The nugget is the official food of Reno. So he had a distinct advantage. You don't know, though. That's the problem with social media. We all focus on it. We all try to do things. What goes viral? There's no explanation for
It
it.
makes no sense.
Ever.
Well, you know, even our legislative leaders there, I mean, the governor tweeted with him, several of our assemblymen and senators took pictures with him and put him on Twitter. It was crazy.
However, PETA, they have not retweeted.
No,
That's
wonder why.
That's not
yet.
surprising. Jace, what do you think about this?
I just like the fact that here you've got a kid, you know, there's a stereotype out there about millennials, lazy, don't do anything, and this guy, you know, made something out of something that old fogies like me and Gen X would probably be like, yeah, social media. But I mean, he used it to do something that's really smart, you know, and help people along the way. Yeah.
Yeah, Natasha?
I mean, I feel bad for not retweeting him now because, you know, when it first came out, I was like, there's no way. You know, people tweet things like this all the time. Like, we have Roblox users tweeting us, like, how many retweets can we get for a follow from you? So, like, these things happen all the time. But to learn more about this kid, and, you know, his mom had cancer and his, you know, baby sister was born prematurely, and he just, on his website, talked about all of these things that his family has overcome and now wants to give back. So now he's using his, you know, newfound fame to give back to the community, and I think that's so great. So I feel guilty, but props to Wendy's. Like, they didn't make him go all the way to the 18 million. You know, at 4 million, they said, you already beat the world record. So.
And how smart, by the way, is Wendy's at social media?
Yes.
They're active, they have fun, they're irreverent, they poked fun at McDonald's.
Yep.
and they've gotten how much mileage out of this stuff.
And that's true. I mean, you think about you guys, your jobs with the social media team and you with the radio show, you have to be able to have that conversation and have that laid back attitude for things to work and people to feel like they can talk to you.
Yeah, and you have to, we work for government, so we have a lot more rules than I think Spence probably does, but they have rules there too. There's lines you can't cross, but to take advantage of social media like that, you really have to take the stick out, and be willing to engage with people and have a sense of humor, have a sense of fun, and not be super uptight about every little thing.
Right, and props to them for their follow through, because that was awesome for them to even donate the $100,000.
When you guys put your social media posts together, do you all try to say, you know what, let's do something that's gonna go viral, or do you just kind of just do what you need to do and let it go and see what happens?
It's a mix of both. I mean, like the analytics and engagement, you will have to try to find something capturing and things that people will engage with, but you never know when a reply or something so simple can just take off, or when something like so out there becomes like the most watched video on your page. It just, you can't plan it, which is kind of part of the job.
Spence, any closing thoughts on this topic?
It's we don't know. It's a mystery wrapped inside an enigma.
Inside a nugget.
Yeah, inside a chicken nugget
Chicken
from
nugget.
Wendy's.
With a frosty on the side.
All right, well, that's going to do it. Spence, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, well, summer is here, and that means you'll be spending some more time outdoors. When we come back, we have an expert who has some tips on how to enjoy the summer heat safely. We'll be right back.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Welcome back, everyone. Whether you spend a few extra minutes at the park or a little extra time at the pool, the Las Vegas heat can be dangerous. Tim Szymanski with Las Vegas Fire and Rescue is here to talk about the warning signs you should be watching out for when outdoors. Thanks so much for joining us, Tim.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we always have to talk about this every year, but it's such an important reminder for Las Vegans who are dealing with triple-digit heat all summer.
That's right. This is the hottest place in the country. I just learned something this last summer. I was having a lettering replaced on my vehicle, and it was because the heat kept melting it off.
Really?
And when I took it in to get it relettered by the company, which is the very top line material that they put on the truck, they says that this material is guaranteed for a lifetime in all parts of the country except in Las Vegas and Phoenix. They says we only guarantee it for 5 years because the heat is so extreme.
Yeah.
So this is the hottest place in the country.
So let's talk about some warning signs and some safety while you're out in the heat. I know that I'm very sensitive to it, and I have to be careful because it will sneak up on me. It seems like I'll be fine 1 second, and then the next I don't feel right. Something's wrong with my body. So if for the viewers out there, what kind of warning signs should they be looking for?
Okay, there's two things that you should be concerned about in the summertime. Is exposure to ultraviolet rays from the sun, which can burn you, and then the other one is the heat itself, which will take a toll on the interior of the body. You should look at the UV index. There's places where you can look that up every day. When it's above 7 or 8, that means you can get burned in less than 15 minutes. If it's up around 10 and 12, which sometimes in July and August it could be 5 minutes. So that means that you have to wear a sunscreen with an SPF of 50 and above, and that's because those rays you can't see. But it's like being in a microwave oven. It's actually cooking you. The other thing to remember is to protect your eyes too, because this can damage your eyes. It can lead to you getting cataracts a lot sooner in life, and it's because the UV is destroying it. The other one is the heat, and the heat is taking a toll on your body. And the thing that people don't do enough of it is drink plenty of liquids, and the preferred liquid is water.
I'm guilty of
so,
that.
So everybody is.
Yeah.
And sugared drinks actually take away from you. Alcohol drinks and caffeinated drinks actually take even more from you. But the thing that you need to remember is your skin is a radiator, and the radiator is what keeps your engine cool when you're driving down the street. Your perspiring is what keeps your body at 98.6. When the perspiration comes, it evaporates. So when you get out of the shower or bathtub, you feel that coldness. That's the water evaporating. That's what keeps us at 98.6. So it has to be constantly receiving liquids on the skin to keep you at that temperature. When you don't take enough liquids in, it has to steal that liquid from someplace, or you'll literally start to burn up on the inside. So it steals the liquid from the plasma in your blood.
Wow.
It's to keep you from. So when it does that, you have a reduced blood volume, and that's when people start to get lightheaded. They feel nauseous. They get dizzy because there's not enough blood circulating in the bloodstream.
Okay.
So ways you can prevent that from happening is, number one is thirst. Thirst is your check engine light on your body, and that's saying you need immediate attention. You need to drink liquids. So when you start to get thirsty, the damage is already start to occur. That's what we call dehydration, and all you have to do is drink plenty of liquids. It's 8 times 8 ounces a day. That's about a 2-liter bottle of soft drink, if you can imagine that. You have to drink that every day, or drink 1 bottle of water every 2 hours. And that's constant through the day. And you're going to lose a teaspoon of water every hour just from breathing. The air going in and out, it evaporates. When you go into heat exhaustion, that's when you start to feel really weak and you got to sit down and you feel dizzy. You can still change that by drinking liquids. Stop what you're doing, get in a cool place, drink liquids, and get that volume built back up. Heat stroke means that your body is literally burning up. It's a true medical emergency. We have to rush you to the hospital with lights and sirens on. And that means that the systems have shut down. You are literally burning up. Your skin temperature will be in excess of 106 degrees. It's a life-threatening condition. We will put IVs into you. We might have to pack you with ice. But it is, you don't ever want to get to that stage.
No, it sounds very scary.
So there's 2 things that you can do. The first one is don't get thirsty. The other one, and people, this is the best indicator out there, is every time you go to the restroom, check the color of your urine. Urine is supposed to be clear. If it gets any color in it, that means that you are stealing from the bloodstream. If it gets really dark, and when I mean dark, it's a very, very dark yellow, a dark brown, that is critical. You are going into a stage where you are actually doing damage on your body, and you need to double or triple your intake of your liquids. If you're outside doing sports, if you're working outside, you have to triple what everybody else does.
Wow, that's very good to know. So let me move on to a different topic, because this is also a hot topic during the summer months, and that is leaving children in the car and leaving animals in the car. These are no-nos.
Well, it's technically against the law, and you are required by law to dial 911 and report it to the police. There's a zero tolerance for leaving children inside parked vehicles in southern Nevada. That means if you do it, you're going to go to jail. You're not going to be able to talk your way out of it. But we get a lot of accidental calls. We get about 300 to 400 calls a year, maybe only 1 or 2 now, because people know it's against the law, intentionally leave their kids in the car to run in to pay for gas or to go get something, and they say it's only a minute, and it leads to a couple of minutes. The rest of them are accidental lock-ins, and it's mom taking the groceries out of the car. It's real windy here. The car slams. Many times they leave the car running to keep the air conditioning on. You know, you only got 2 hands trying to get the groceries in and all this. If that happens, you call 911 immediately and tell them what you have done.
Okay.
If you call 911 and say, I accidentally locked my child in the car, I'm unloading the groceries, you're off the hook. But it's still considered a true emergency. Police and fire will respond with lights and sirens on. And then once we get there, we will talk to you about ways of getting the child out. If the car is parked in the driveway and the air conditioner is on and the child looks good in a kid's seat and they're fine, we're not going to break a window out. Somebody will come along and they will open your car and it won't cause any damage. If it looks like a matter of life and death, we will break the window out. Sometimes we try to convince mom to leave the window. The kid's fine and they're screaming at us, I want you to break the window out. If you tell us to do it, we're going to do it. The other thing is leaving pets in cars. And one thing that is going around now, it says that you have the right to break a window out to rescue a pet. You shouldn't do that. That's a matter for public safety people. So if you see a pet left in a car and you're concerned and it looks like it needs attention, call 911. You could be arrested for it, and you could be sued by the person that you broke into the car. So it's not your job. That's why we have police and firefighters out there.
Right.
Dial 911, tell them what you see, and then let them come and decide. Because if you're out there by yourself and you break that window out, someone's going to mistake you for trying to break into that car. It might be the car owner.
Right, absolutely.
They could be carrying a gun. They could be really upset. That's not your job. Leave it to the professionals.
Just make sure your emotions are in check. I know it's very emotional to see a child in the car, very emotional to see an animal in the car. Just call 911 like you said.
Call 911. We're only a couple of minutes away. We'll be there, and then you're protected. You've done your duty by calling 911.
All right, Tim. Well, we are all out of time. Thank you so much for the tips. And of course, we'll probably be visiting with you in the near future to talk about pool safety and some other concerns.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, when we come back, we have some exciting news. You'll want to hear about the city's social media efforts, as well as what's going on here at Channel 2.
Have things to do downtown? Now you can be in and out in no time.
Thank you.
When you need to make quick stops, use this grab-and-go lot or one of the many free 10 to 15-minute loading and unloading zones around downtown. Just look for these signs and park for free. For more great tips on where to park in downtown Las Vegas, you can download the Park Me app.
Maybe I have that?
Oh, thank you. Did you see anyone's waffles? You moved this? Thanks for helping us.
No problem.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back, everyone. We have been busy over here at Channel 2 over the last year. In fact, we are celebrating Trending Vegas' 1-year anniversary. Through this time on air, we've been able to show you the city's social media efforts through the videos we make. Well, we've now been honored for that effort, taking first place in the social media category for the Scanatoa Awards, which honors government access channels throughout California and Nevada. Here's a glimpse of some of the videos that helped us win.
Said you didn't receive. You said you didn't need.
Also, I'm proud to say that KCLV's documentary we produced last year, Ending Homelessness, A Light at the End of the Tunnel, was awarded first place in the awards. We have also been nominated for an Emmy in this category. You can actually watch that documentary online at kclv.tv. Just click on the link to our YouTube channel. Trending Vegas also took home a 2nd place, and City Beat took home a 3rd place. Congratulations to all of my coworkers. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Make sure to get in on the conversation on social media and use the hashtag TrendingVegas. We'll see you next time.